But let's talk some football. It's surprisingly, next weekend's a spring game.
That's crazy. That's honestly crazy.
Because of this basketball being so good, and I mean, us still being active 2 weekends longer than we've been since 2017, it kind of just doesn't feel right for it to be this close.
Mm-hmm.
But, oh, sorry, you're going to say?
Oh, yeah, well, I was just going to say, between the basketball run and kind of the Lagway stuff sort of taking the wind out of our sails for spring ball, it literally just hasn't even really been on my mind that we've got a spring game coming up next weekend. But so you'll hear us talk about that on the show next week.
I mean, yeah, we'll just start right there. You already talked about the Lagway injury. From what I keep hearing, what my understanding, it's being a bit overblown. Mm-hmm. Like, he's not throwing the ball publicly, because something that hasn't been confirmed is if he's throwing at all, and if he is throwing when there isn't the press, because the press is only allowed to be in practice for like a few minutes, like 15 minutes or something. I thought I saw
it. As someone who's been in that position, gone to practices in the portion that the press is allowed to, you see nothing. Like, you see nothing of value.
So there is still the chance that Lagway is throwing when practice is closed. It's also something I've been told, if we played a game today, Lagway would play. So it's not an injury that's holding him back.
Okay, I mean, my biggest question, because I mean, I don't think it's on its face particularly strange. Quarterback who had shoulder injury in camp last year. You know, when your shoulder's injured and it's your star young quarterback, you're not going to take chances with him throwing in the spring. That all makes sense to me. I guess my question is, if it's a recurring issue, as far as we know, DJ didn't get any sort of operation or anything like that after the season. So yeah, it's my understanding that he did not. So like, I guess that's the only question I have and I don't even know if it's a question for Billy. It might be more of a question for the training staff or even Lagway himself. But that is what concerns me a little bit. I mean, I will just say it kind of seems like, you know, the performances of the quarterbacks without DJ Lagway in the fold kind of reiterate how important it is that we get him back to 100% by the start of the season. Because kind of sounds like Harrison Bailey and Aiden Warner not necessarily playing their best ball in spring.
Something I heard that's very interesting. Even when Lagway is just in there handing it off, and I mean, I don't know if they do pass plays, but he doesn't throw it. They're saying that just the offense has more juice to it. Like, even when he can't throw the ball, the offense has more juice than when you have Harrison Bailey and Aiden Warner. And I don't want to diss them too much. I've heard some good things. I've seen some good things from Aiden Warner. Like, I think he has actually a pretty good arm. But being in in-game situations and talent levels being different might mentally hold him back there. But a theory I've talked about with some other friends and stuff in chats about DJ Lagway's injury. This is nothing guaranteed. This is just something that we've theorized. Could it be a tendonitis? Because it's something that they say we don't know if he needs surgery for. Well, we know he's going to probably play and not have surgery. And tendonitis is something that's an overuse injury, or an overuse thing. And you go back to his high school days where he played baseball, was a pitcher, played a lot of baseball, football. He has an interesting throwing motion that comes with playing baseball. Is it something like tendonitis that's affecting it, and it's an overuse thing, so they tried not to make him throw it too much? That's my theory, because Mark Long, he went out and said that Lagway needs surgery, although that's something that has not been confirmed, and he's like the only person saying it. So maybe tendonitis isn't it, but that's my guess.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think that, you know, is a sound theory. I mean, I will say it doesn't really sound like. I mean, it's weird to me because at the same time, on the one hand, it doesn't really sound like something they're particularly worried about.
Yeah,
but there's also just been the lack of transparency, which makes you kind of second guess that a little bit. I mean, I guess to me, it's like, I don't really see, considering we're still, it's April, we're still 5 months away from a ball kicking off. Like, I think almost 5 months away from ball kicking off. Like, I think it's pretty, yeah, I know that's depressing. But but I mean, it's not depressing in the sense that it gives DJ a decent amount of time to be getting back closer to 100%. I mean, I think, again, just, you know, Aiden Warner, I mean, for what he is, I mean, for a guy that was a walk-on at Yale, like, I think he can ball a little bit, but I don't think, I mean, we've seen that. I think we know that Florida's not capable of being an 8-9 win team or 8-9 plus win team if it's Aiden Warner playing any significant amount of snaps this year. And I mean, it kind of sounds like, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I think they certainly brought in Harrison Bailey to be the backup, but I'm not so sure that's the way it's shaping up. We'll see.
I also saw Clay Millen throwing in practice.
He's there? What?
I'm pretty sure I saw him throwing in practice. Let me double check this.
That's crazy because that saga is, I mean, I don't even know if you can call it a saga, but it just has made nothing about it has really made any sense to me.
April 1st, I have passed him throwing a pass to Khalil Jackson.
I mean, because it's so weird because you're talking about a guy who like had semi-promising early returns playing at a decent, middle T, mid-major G5 program.
His stats looked like he'd be a really good game manager.
Yeah.
Or third string game manager.
And I mean, you just didn't see him. I mean, they clearly liked Aiden Warner more. They clearly
Or it was an injury.
Or it was injury. Yeah, maybe it was injury. But if it was something they weren't telling us about. And then they went and got a journeyman backup guy in the portal in Harrison Bailey. So I don't know what role Clay Millen's going to have on this team, but that's interesting to me.
Yeah, I mean, I have as good of a guess as you do.
We'll get to it. I have a question, but we'll get to it later when it's thematically relevant.
Oh, what is it? What is it?
Well, we can get into it. It's a spring question. I was curious if you have heard anything about what's going on with Asa Turner and if he's even going to be on the roster this fall.
I mean, we talked about it last week a bit that he got cleared, but his future with the program is still unknown. I haven't heard anything.
So you haven't heard anything beyond the official line, which is he's good to go, but we don't know exactly what his role, if any, is going to be on the team. Okay, that's cool. I was just curious. He didn't, from what I understand, did not participate, or at least wasn't seen participating in any sort of scrimmage or anything like that. So
yeah. Moving on next to wide receivers, I think something that excites everybody. Aiden Mizell had a short pass that took 50 yards to the house. We saw it a bit this year, like the Mississippi State game where he had that like 60-yard touchdown that was overturned by some horrible block in the back call. We know everybody says he's maybe the fastest player on the team.
Mm-hmm.
So to have him going out in practice, looking really good, it seems like the entire receiver room, honestly, the matchups at wide receiver versus corner, from what we've heard, they've been very competitive. Something that I'm very excited to see. I heard Jermichael Sturdivant had some nice plays. And should we just get corner to go with it? Because, they matched up against each other.
Sure, let's do it.
I heard there was a matchup between Devin Moore and Jermichael Sturdivant where it was Devin Moore just went up for it and won. Like, it was a big battle between them. Like, it was a tough one. Like, Sturdivant apparently didn't do anything wrong on the play. Devin Moore was just better. Yeah. And everything I'm hearing, Devin Moore is looking really good. We all know how good Devin Moore can be if he stays healthy.
Yeah, well, I think that's why, to me, it's not really surprising to hear that the receiver corner matchups have been some of the most electric in the spring, because when you look at the guys Florida has, the size, the speed at receiver, paired with, I mean, a cornerback room that we both have questions about, but I think for the most part, our questions entirely center around the depth. I think we both feel like this is a really good cornerback unit if everyone's healthy. That kind of Devin Moore at the forefront of that with his injury history. Yeah, Rob.
Talking about corner depth.
Yeah. Yeah, Rob, you still think he can go to Miami or Notre Dame, or are you glad he's in the class? No, but no, I mean, I think like you said, Devin Moore. I mean, I think Devin Moore can be an all SEC caliber corner if he's playing in 12, at least 11 games this year. I mean, I think looking at receiver too, like Mizell, it's really promising to hear good things about Mizell, because I think when you hear people give their most like optimistic readings of how they think the receiver room is going to be, I think it usually involves a lot of projection when it comes to Mizell, because unless you really think that one of these true freshmen is going to break out, which I think we both think there's a decent chance at least one of them does.
Yeah, I was going to say Vernell Brown and Dallas Wilson both reported to be having good. They both reported having a good spring game as well, making some nice plays.
Cool. So, I mean, I think that, like I said, we both expect that I think at least one of those guys will come in and probably make a decent impact this year. But I think that's also kind of unfair to put that on them. So if Florida's going to have a good a good receiver room, barring that. It's going to take some development from Aiden Mizell, who's shown the flashes, maybe not the consistency. I mean, nice to hear that Sturdivant's looking good, because I think Sturdivant is like a guy that has all the tools you look for. It's just, why did the production drop off last year in particular? I think, I think if he's a guy that's playing more like he was back at Cal, I think you're looking at a pretty solid receiver room. And the corners, obviously, between Devin Moore, Dijon, like, these are guys who, if they're healthy, should be really, really good.
His QB was Ethan Garbers, so
yeah, I mean, and that could be as simple as that. It could be as simple as that. I mean, obviously, he's proven that he can play at a really high level. Just hasn't necessarily done so the last couple of years.
Absolutely. We can't move on from talking about receivers and corners without mentioning Cormani McClain. Every week, it feels like there's more and more talk about him actually being able to start. Dijon Johnson was really good. I think we all know Cormani has the highest ceiling of anybody in this corner room. He has that freakishly long length. They talked about him being one of the 4 fastest players on this team, with players like Aiden Mizell and Tay Calkins. So if you can get Cormani, if he's actually playing, we've seen his size. It looks like he's better. The weights they show and his more weight. I mean, if Cormani McClain is really starting to get up to that potential, that could be the key in us having a really good secondary.
Yeah, I think building that frame up is a big thing that Cormani needed to do this offseason, obviously. I mean, I don't want to, this sounds a little harsh to say I'll believe it when I see it, because I think he has a lot of potential. It's just, we just really haven't. I mean, aside from the one play that everyone talks about, we haven't really seen him do it a lot. So I mean, I kind of just need to actually see it happen. But I mean, if Cormani's capable, even if he's capable of starting, I'm not sure he will, just because like you said, Dijon played really well last year. But if he's capable of starting, and he's a guy that if Devin Moore gets banged up and has to miss a couple weeks, you can rely on to play on the outside. I mean, that's huge. That's tremendous. Especially with, a guy like Jabari Flowers, maybe adding depth at that slot position where, I think maybe going into the season, that's where we're going to have our biggest questions health-wise, just because of Aaron Gates, who seemingly is at least participating a little bit. So that's a good sign.
Did we talk about that? When did I know I sent you the message.
I feel like we did talk. I feel like we talked about it, but maybe we didn't. If we didn't talk about it, Aaron Gates out there stretching and stuff in practice.
No, because I sent that to you on Tuesday.
Oh, okay. I guess we didn't talk about it on the show then. So I mean, you can go into it. You probably remember the details a little better than I do.
I mean, it's not much. It's just Aaron Gates is out there getting in stretches with the team, getting ready for their scrimmage. He was in a black non-contact jersey. So I wonder if he played in the scrimmage then.
Yeah, maybe in a non-contact role. I mean, that's huge. I mean, if he's already at the point where he's running non-contact, that's a really good sign, because, I mean, we were legitimately concerned about his availability for 2025, period. So,
got anything else to say about the receivers or corners? You just want to move on?
No, I mean, I think that's kind of hit it. I think we can move it along.
Talk a little bit about the running backs, Jaden Ball and Jacoby Jackson. I just hear they continue to be really good. I know some people who are really, really, really high on Jacoby Jackson. Like, I know there are people who are advocating for him to start over Jaden Ball, which is nothing against Jaden Ball. He's a really good running back. Yeah. But Jacoby Jackson, apparently, he's looking that good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really worry about it. I think they're a nice complement to each other. I don't like I'm not sure who's going to get the most carries there. I mean, I don't think, did Ball end up getting more carries last year than Montrell did with the games he missed?
Let me look that up real quick.
Even if he didn't, I don't think any of us would have guessed Ball would get as many carries as he did. So I guess I'm like, who knows exactly how the rotation is going to work out, but I think you got to if there's one area where you got to trust Billy, it's figuring that element of it out, because the running backs has always been a very major strength for this team.
Ball had 133 carries for 673. Montrell 100 for 593.
Oh, so
and Jackson
big margin.
Yeah, and Jackson 95 for 509. All of them over 5 yards per carry.
I didn't even realize Jacoby was almost as many carries as Montrell had. Man, he really missed a lot of time. Kind of forgot how much time he ended up missing.
I mean, both Ball and Jacoby went for 100 yards versus Texas. We
Yeah.
remembered that. And that was the
I mean, I
one
think
bright spot in that game.
like I think it's the fact that you're debating which of these guys should get the more carries is a good problem to have.
Yep.
Especially with Trayon coming back, at least for we'll see. I think wouldn't surprise me if we see someone exit that room after the spring.
Yep.
But for now, you got all those guys plus the true freshmen. So strong looking room right now.
Absolutely. The thing that's been the main talk of spring practice about who's looking the best, it's a battle in the trenches. I mean, we already know about the offensive line. I think I know who the starting five is going to be. I think it's going to be the four we expect. I think Bryce Levette's going to start at right tackle. Now, it's still early. Things can change. But from what it seems like, I think Bryce Levette is going to be the starter there, which I'm not too upset about because I really liked him at guard. Maybe he's looking really good at tackle. So I don't really need to say much there on the offensive line. On the defensive line, though, the big talking points have been, at the spring game, Cameron James. He had a nice tip, pick six. He's the backup to Tyreek Sapp, and he looks really good. I mean, I am so high on this defensive line.
Yeah, it's hard not to be with all the experience that comes back. And even with the guys you lost, like I think Pyburn was a nice role player. I think Sapp was too, but or sorry, not Sapp, TJ Searcy.
Yeah.
Got them confused in my head for a second. No, I mean, no, I think they were nice role players, but I don't think they really brought anything to the table that can't be replaced with the personnel that Florida has there this year.
Yep.
And real quick, I'm about the offense.
Yeah,
just before we move on from the offensive line, I just want to say, talking about right tackle. So, like, have you been seeing is he just repping there way more than Fletcher Westfall has been?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's been repping there. Apparently, he's looked really good there. So
that's promising considering how many reps he ended up seeing last year. That's good that he's sort of seizing that job in the spring, it seems.
Yeah. So going back, talking about the edge position, losing Pyburn and Searcy, it was a position we both said we need to attack in the portal, probably get someone really good. We get Kofi Asare, whoever looks decent, but I think he can play more F and Jack. But again, the name I continue to hear, Jaden Woods. I mean, man, like, I don't think he's going to start. He could by the end of the season, but he's someone that's making an instant impact. I've heard from pretty good sources that they would be shocked if Jaden Woods isn't making early impacts at Florida.
Which, I mean, that says a lot for a guy coming off the edge, because that's a position where you just have to be really skilled and impactful to see the snaps. I mean, like, you look at a guy like Harold Perkins, how much he played off the edge as a true freshman.
Was the name. They're like,
really?
if we can get something, not the comparison, a little bit, but like they're trying to say if they can get like a little bit of Harold Perkins, like what he did as a freshman with Jaden Woods, that would be very ideal.
Which, because I mean, if you don't remember, I mean, because I probably watched LSU in 2023 more than most people, or 2022 more than most people listening to this, I would guess. But if you don't remember, like, Perkins wasn't playing every down for them. He was like a third down pass rushing specialist, kind of, and it was really impactful. So, I mean, if I guess we'll see. If I'm not saying Woods is good enough to have a role quite that defined yet, but I would say it's a really good sign that he name is just isn't strategies that it's easiest or the first from the ball, the easiest it is to find early playing time. So for a guy coming off the edge to be making that much of a splash as an early enrollee in the spring, that's exciting. I mean, we'll see how much, where he fits into the rotation, but I'm not sure Florida's like so set that he can't break into it.
No. I was going to compare. Harold Perkins is currently 6'1", 220. Jaden Woods, 6'3", 229. So trying to figure out if he can play a bit more off the ball.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not too sure how much that is. I mean, I don't know. He's definitely not as athletic as Harold Perkins. I mean, there was a reason Harold Perkins was a top 10 recruit. And Jaden Woods.
Also, though, Perkins shouldn't be playing off the ball. Perkins just shouldn't be playing off the ball, in my opinion. So I'm fine with if Jaden Woods can just pass rush. If he can be an impactful pass rusher, please just do that.
I think with Harold Perkins, LSU saw Micah Parsons. Because you went Micah Parsons and then Harold Perkins had that breakout season. So they kind of want to. They're trying to. I think LSU is trying to replicate Perkins as what Parsons was doing. Man, I say that 10 times. Perkins, Parsons, Perkins, Parsons. That's tough to do. But yeah, I mean, I've talked about it. If Jaden Woods is that guy, I'm gonna be so happy.
Yeah, I mean, we both have, but you really have been all in on this one, on him making an early impact with this team. So exciting to see that he's at least, doing the things in spring that you got to do if you want to make an impact as a true freshman.
Rob, I heard Waltez Clark is balling. I saw something about that too, which is great. I just don't think he makes too much of an impact year one.
It's just the depth. Yeah. Like, there's just too much.
Although that is what we said about Ball.
It is. And I mean, injuries happen.
Yep.
Injuries happen. And I mean, I feel like it almost sounds like I'm like wish casting Trayon Webb into the portal. Like, I'm not trying to do that. I'm just saying, like, if someone like Trayon Webb were to portal after spring, that would obviously open the door for more carries for a guy like Waltez Clark, potentially.
Yep. Is there anything else you want to talk about from the scrimmage, or do you think you've talked about everything we want to?
I mean, just in general, it's hard to say from a scrimmage whether this is a quarterback thing or not, but I heard 3 interceptions in the scrimmage. One by, I think, was a tip from Cameron James. So that's cool to see him making plays. I don't know if it's
that. And Devin
Money had one. And Devin, and the Devin.
So it's the 2 corners that are standing out.
Yeah. That's good. I mean, I don't know if that's just an indictment of like Harrison Bailey. I hope not, but good to see.
One thing though that you have to also look at practice-wise, the defense knows the play.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot easier for the defense to play when they know what the offense is doing versus for the offense to look worse when the defense knows what they're doing versus a totally random sample. So, Rob. Fellas, I'm calling it now.
Rob coming in
if
hot.
Our D-line plays as dominant like they did at the end of last season, we will win the Natty in football. It's 2020, or I'm sorry, it's 2006 all over again. Basketball team, football team, both are going to win the Natty. I mean, and we're going to be ecstatic.
I'm not quite as bullish as Rob seems to be, but I will say, like, I think that is pretty key. And I think if they're that good for the whole year, like, probably the recipe for a CFP team or one that's at that caliber. If Lagway's healthy and you've got the defense playing like that, like, yeah, sure. Could at least get there.
I'm at the point
why you couldn't.
I'm at the point to where if we fail this season, it's not because of talent, it's because of on-field coaching.
No, yeah, we're beyond that. Billy's got the guys. I mean, this team is all his at this point. The blue chip ratio is still not elite, but it's getting where it needs to be. Like, and
we've hit on 3 stars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the development and talent identification has been pretty solid. So, gotta win, man. Like, it's time to. I mean, I've said this a lot on the show, but like, I think it's good they seem to be getting the house in order. But getting the house in order also does take away, any semblance. I mean, the only real way I think you have any excuse this year is if there's something they're not telling us about the severity of Lagway's shoulder, which I don't have any reason to believe that right now.
Yeah, like the talent, like the blue chip ratio. Look at a lot of our best players. I mean, look at the offense. Like Jake Slaughter, 3-star. Austin Barber, 3-star. Kinjaya Harris, who played pretty well last year in his first year starting, 3-star. Bryce Levette, 3-star. Offensive line is all 4 3-stars and then 1 4-star in Damian George, who I really like Damian George as well. And then, I mean, the rest of the offense, I mean, Ball was a low 4-star. Jackson Juco, I don't know if he was even ranked.
Yeah, if he was, I think he was like a Juco 3-star though.
Yeah, that sounds right. And then Caleb Banks out of high school, unranked 3. Actually, I think Caleb Banks was a 4-star transfer technically, but he was a 0-star guy out of high school.
I also think, to me, like, the stars for transfers are kind of BS.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really put a lot of credence in that. They really heavily weigh high school recruiting rankings and stuff, which I just don't care that much about that.
Caleb Banks was unranked out of high school.
Yeah. So that goes to show, like, what he accomplished. Yeah, I mean, maybe in that sense, I'd take it a little bit more because it's something you at least earned. But they'll give redshirt freshmen who have never played.
Earned that. Like, he had no stats at Louisville, but was given a 4-star transfer rating.
Then that's
It's because his measurables and stuff. I guess transfer
Okay.
art footage. I mean, if you went from unranked at Louisville and got offered from Florida, something happened between being a senior in high school, which was also during the time of 2020. So stuff happened there that
It's
affected
so funny.
how kids got recruited.
Like the recruiting industry is just like full of self-fulfilling prophecies. It's like we're going to give Florida a good class because they got this 4-star transfer who we're only saying is good because Florida wanted him. Like,
well, I do think that
just the economy of the recruiting analysis is just funny to me.